welcome to another interesting English language class. My name is Precious Balogun. Our theme for today is Oracy Skills Spoken English. And our topic is Stress Timing in English Sentences, Part 1. By the end of the lesson, you should be able to identify and correctly articulate stress timing in sentences. Some English words have different pronunciation. Let's take a look at some examples. We have words like contract, which is a noun, and contract, which is a verb. They are both spelled the same way, but they have different pronunciations. We also have the word export and export. And also we have import and import. The way we pronounce these words will affect their meanings. Therefore, in order for us to meaningfully communicate our ideas and opinions, we must accurately pronounce our words. And how can we do this? This can be done by properly stressing our words. Now, let's go on to see what stress is. Stress is the emphasis placed on a particular syllable in a word or a particular word in a phrase or sentence. It is the loudness in the voice of a speaker when pronouncing a syllable or a word. Now, stress can be grouped into two. We have word stress and sentence stress. Now, let's take a look at these types of stress. Word stress is the emphasis placed on a certain syllable in a word. This syllable is pronounced longer and louder than the other syllables in the word. Now, let's take a look at some examples. We have the word vegetable. We notice that the stress falls on ve. Next, we have photography. The stress falls on to. Moving on, we have complete. We have pleat. And lastly, we have report. The stress falls on re. From these examples, we notice that one syllable is pronounced louder and longer than the other syllables in that word. Next, we'll be looking at sentence stress. But before we go into sentence stress, let's note that a sentence is basically made up of content words and structure words. What are content words? Content words are the main words or key words of a sentence. These words add meaning to the sentence, and without these words, a sentence will not make sense. For example, we have main verbs, nouns, adjectives, adverbs, and negative auxiliaries. Next, we have structure words. Structure words are words that make a sentence grammatically correct. Now, we can always do without these words and still understand what the sentence is about. For example, we have pronouns, prepositions, articles, conjunctions, and auxiliary verbs. Now, let's take a look at some examples of content words and structure words. Under content words, we have main verbs, words like buy, killed, ate. We have nouns, words like ade, car, goat. We have adjectives, words like interesting, big, black. We also have adverbs, words like first, never, and lastly. And for negative auxiliaries, we have words like don't, won't, can't, and aren't. Now, moving on to examples of structure words. For pronouns, we have they, she, he, we. For prepositions, we have in, under, on, at. Examples of conjunctions are and, or, because, since, nor, while. For articles, we have a, an, and the. And lastly, under structure words, examples of auxiliary verbs are be, can, have, do. Now that we know the basic words in a sentence, let's take a look at sentence stress. Sentence stress is the emphasis placed on a word or words in a sentence. Remember that we said a sentence is basically made of structure words and content words. Now, in a sentence, the content words are stressed and the structure words are unstressed. Let's take a look at some examples. First, we have they want to go. Notice that want and go are stressed. Next, we have she bought a new car. Bought, new, and car are stressed. Moving on, we have Ade killed a goat. Ade, killed, and goat are stressed. And lastly, we have that was an interesting story. That, interesting, and story are stressed. Note that these words that are stressed are content words. Some rules have exceptions. Sometimes speakers stress structure words to draw the attention of the listener to a particular point or to change or correct an information. Let's take a look at some examples. Sentence 1. I asked you to buy a red shoe. You here is a structure word and it is stressed by the speaker to show that he asked you and no one else. Next, we have no, they haven't, but we have. The words they and we are stressed. And lastly, we have Ada will go to the market tomorrow. Notice that to is stressed. Having understood sentence stress, let's take a class activity together. Let's do well to identify the stressed words in the below sentences, having in mind that content words are stressed and structure words are unstressed. Sentence 1. The lion is a king of the jungle. The stressed words are lion, king, and jungle. Sentence 2. Ade has a big black dog. The stressed words are Ade, big black dog. Sentence 3. Nnamdi killed a snake. The stressed words are Nnamdi, killed, and snake. Sentence 4. He won't be at home tomorrow. The stress falls on won't, home, and tomorrow. Sentence 5. Don't touch my book. The stress falls on don't, touch, and book. And lastly, sentence 6. Tolani doesn't like cats. The stress falls on Tolani doesn't and cats. Now, what are the importance of sentence stress? They help improve our speaking and listening skills. When a word is properly stressed, we'll be able to listen properly and pick out the content words in a sentence. Next, it helps the listener focus on important parts of a sentence and understand the meaning the speaker wants to convey. Stress timing helps us get out the key words or important words to be able to derive meaning from what the speaker is saying. Next, sentence stress draws our attention to new information as well as contrasting information in sentences. And lastly, appropriate sentence stress makes a sentence pleasant to read because it gives the sentence some form of rhythm. Have you noticed that when you properly stress words in a sentence, it gives your sentence a form of rhythm? That brings us to stress timing. What is stress timing? Stress timing is a term used to describe stressed words that occur at regular intervals in a sentence. This means that the time between each stressed word is the same. Let's take a look at some examples. We have 1, 2, 3, 4. These numbers represent the stressed words. Now, we'll do a count together. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, we'll add words in between 1, 2, 3, 4 that are unstressed. And you'll still notice the timing. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Now, let's look at another. We'll add 2 words in between 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1 and then 2 and then 3 and then 4. Moving on, let's add 3 words to 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and then a 2 and then a 3 and then a 4. Notice that the intervals between the stressed words were the same. Now let's take a look at another example to further explain stress timing. Now our stressed words will be book, crayon, pen, and pencil. Book, crayon, pen, pencil. Now we'll add unstressed words in between the stressed words. Book and crayon and pen and pencil. Now let's go on to add 2 words in between the stressed words. Book and then crayon and then pen and then pencil. Now let's go on to add 3 words to the stressed words. Book and then a crayon and then a pen and then a pencil. Book and then a crayon and then a pen and then a pencil. Notice that the time between each stressed word is the same. And we did not change the beat. The beat was what? Constant. It is important to note that English language is a stressed time language. There are other languages that are not stressed timed, but they are syllable timed. Languages like Spanish and Cantonese. Now let's take a look at a Spanish sentence. ¿Cómo está usted? From this example, there is equal stress given to every word and syllable in the sentence. But in English language, we would say it differently. How are you? Notice that some words are pronounced longer and louder than other words in the sentence. That makes English language a stress-timed language. Now that we understand word stress, sentence stress, and the concept stress timing, let's take a stress practice. Do well to pause this video and read through this paragraph and identify the stressed words. Remember that content words are stressed and structure words are unstressed. Good luck with this. This is where we draw the curtain for today's class. But before we go, let's take a quick summary of all we've learned so far. We learned that stress is the emphasis given to certain syllables in a word. We also learned that stress is grouped into 2 types, namely word stress and sentence stress. Moving on, we learned that in a sentence, content words are stressed and structure words are unstressed. And lastly, for this lesson, we learned that stress timing is a concept that refers to the stressed words in a sentence occurring at approximately regular intervals. Now let's answer some test questions. Question 1. When the stressed syllables or words in a sentence occur at regular intervals, it is known as A. Word stress, B. Voice modulation, C. Stress timing, or D. Change in stress. The correct answer is stress timing, C. Question 2. What are the content words in the below sentence? I bought a blue car. A. Blue car. B. Blue. C. Bought A. Or D. Bought blue car. The correct answer is D. Bought blue and car. I'm sure you now understand the concept of stress timing. Until we meet again in our next class, see you and bye.